campaign against graft and corruption in the Philippines. This is the General Garcia plea bargaining case. During our Christmas break, while the entire nation was vigorously shopping and wrapping Christmas gifts for their loved ones, one man got an early Christmas gift, wrapped and delivered by the Office of the Ombudsman and the 2nd Division of the Sandigan Bayan. When that man was released from detention after posting a 60,000 peso bail for a 300 million plus graft and corruption case. This is, of course, the case of former AFP Controller Major General Carlos Garcia, accused of stashing away a plunder of more than 300 billion worth of assets and most likely much more. Reports show that on 25 February 2010, former AFP Controller Major General Carlos Garcia and his lawyer Constantino de Jesus entered into and signed a plea bargaining agreement with Ombudsman Merceditas Gutierrez, the Special Prosecutor Wendell Sulit, Deputy Special Prosecutor Robert Calios, Deputy Special Prosecutor Jesus Micael, Assistant Special Prosecutor Jose Balmeo, Assistant Special Prosecutor Joseph Pastrana. On the basis of the plea bargaining agreement, Garcia effectively exonerated his wife Clarita and their sons Juan Paulo, Ian Carl, and Timothy Mark, who are co-accused in the plunder and money laundering cases from liability. Moreover, Garcia was required to surrender to the state only 135 million pesos worth of his family assets, although he was accused of plundering over 300 million from the AFP coffers. On March 16, 2010, the prosecution of the accused Garcia filed a joint motion for the approval of the plea bargaining agreement before the Sandigan Bayan 2nd Division. On 4 May 2010, the Sandigan Bayan 2nd Division granted the motion and approved the plea bargaining agreement. The plea bargaining agreement reportedly stated that such agreement was allowed when the prosecution did not have sufficient evidence to establish the guilt of the accused. Although said agreement was made after a special division of the Sandigan Bayan previously resolved to deny Garcia's petition for bail on 7 January 2010 on the basis that the prosecution's evidence on record to establish Garcia's guilt was strong. This prosecution evidence on record includes written admissions by Garcia's wife, Clarita, of receiving money from contractors and suppliers and undeclared cash his sons were caught with at the U.S. airport. On November 2010, the Sandigan Bayan 2nd Division ordered the transfer of the 135 million assets of Garcia through the Anti-Money Laundering Council to the government. On December 16, 2010, former AFP Controller Major General Garcia was allowed to plead guilty to the lesser offense of direct bribery and facilitating money laundering after the prosecution had presented evidence during the trial for plunder for which Garcia was charged. On the said day, December 16, 2010, Garcia also filed a motion for bail before the Sandigan Bayan 2nd Division, which was granted the same day, and Garcia was ordered released a couple of days later, even when the practice is that such motions for bail were usually set for hearing 3 days after its filing. On 18 December 2010, Garcia was released from detention after posting a 60,000 peso bail. Section 2 of Rule 116 of the Rules of Court promulgated by the Supreme Court covering the rule on plea of guilty to a lesser offense provides that, and I quote, at arraignment, the accused with the consent of the offended party, and I repeat, with the consent of the offended party and the prosecutor, may be allowed by the trial court to plead guilty to a lesser offense, which is necessarily included in the offense charge. After arraignment, but before trial, the accused may still be allowed to plead guilty to said lesser offense after withdrawing his plea not guilty, unquote. According to the Office of the Solicitor General, the private offended party in this case is the armed forces of the Philippines, and as such, its consent is indispensable to the validity of the Plea Bargain Agreement. The armed forces of the Philippines reportedly had not been privy to the Garcia's Plea Bargaining Agreement, nor was consulted when the same was made. In fact, the AFP Chief of Staff, General Ricardo David, had publicly declared through newspaper accounts that the AFP was strongly against the Plea Bargaining Agreement, a stand which they made known to the court through the Judge Advocate General's office. The rules of war of mentioned provides that Garcia may only plead to the lesser offense before or after arraignment, but prior to the commencement of the trial. According to Secretary Laila de Lima of the Department of Justice, the plea of not guilty to the lesser offense made by Garcia on 16 December 2010 was made long after the trial had started, and she was also quoted describing Garcia's plea bargaining as illegal and unconscionable. I'd like to repeat that quote, illegal and unconscionable. I know that you are all generally familiar with the case of former AFP controller Carlos Garcia, and perhaps I don't need to take you back over 6 years or more for some salient details of the case. I have a summary here, Mr. Speaker, but for the sake of brevity, I will just ask that the remainder of my speech be inserted into the record. But I would like to emphasize the matter of evidence. I would like to present to this body, Mr. Speaker, a summary of the bank accounts that were discovered in the name of Major General Garcia and all the members of the immediate family as obtained by the Anti-Money Laundering Council and in fact as the subject of a freeze order from the Court of Appeals with respect to the bank accounts. May I now show you a summary of these bank accounts. From the Land Bank of the Philippines, Green Hills Branch, 6 bank accounts in the name of Carlos Garcia, Juan Carlo Garcia, a son, Clarita Garcia, the spouse, Ian Carl Garcia, one of the sons, Timothy Mark Garcia, another son, and then Carlos Garcia. 6 accounts in the Land Bank of the Philippines, Green Hills Branch. From the Land Bank of the Philippines, Cong Branch, 1 account in the name of Carlos F. Garcia. Allied Banking Corporation, 3 accounts in the name of Clarita Garcia, again Clarita Garcia, and then Timothy Mark and/or Ian Carr Garcia. Clarita Garcia, 3 under the name Clarita Garcia, Dala